from here, let's come back and pull it together. So we've gone through all the different areas of analysis. Let's build a data management strategy now. Very critical that we prioritize our work. I very much believe in incremental improvements, and the most valuable next steps should be prioritized over less valuable steps. Lets you control how much you spend, how much effort you put into it. It also builds support in your organization that you're doing the right thing when people see concrete improvements. So an example here from Bureau of Reclamation work are a number of deliverables. We packaged up related user tasks, and based on the priority of those user tasks, we set the priority of the deliverables here. We were also able to tie back to the personas to say, okay, once we implement this deliverable and you make these improvements, you'll be able to benefit the trackers, for example. And they decided to put these into phase A, and then put these into phase B, and put these into phase C, and that gave them flexibility as to how they budgeted and worked through this improvement effort. All right. Once you get through that and you define the chunks of work that you want to do, you start to transition into focusing on implementation. That's another 3-hour webcast I'll be doing next week. No, just kidding. We'll get to that later. All right. So let's pull it all together. I like to provide some advice here to keep it concise. Be as visual as you can. I've seen large documents of data management strategies linger on shelves for many years. People point at it but forget what's in it. Keep it action-oriented, business value-driven, as I mentioned earlier. Keep it iterative and accessible to manager types. So here's a completed one. That the example here is the Bureau of Reclamation example, and this is what we produced for them during our data diagnostic. And you can see kept it very high level, very visual, and you can recognize some of these elements from the techniques that we explored here. Can be a daunting task, but it is a valuable exercise, and strongly encourage folks to work on it. Long-term results, we've seen many benefits from the groups that we've worked with on this. Explicit data management is critically important. A plan is important, and here's some quotes from folks who have experienced the benefits of this kind of analysis. All right.
Well, thank you, Brian. If any of you have questions, please use the Q&A console at the bottom. We can ask your particular question to Brian. Also, I know on the next slide, there is a link out to our USBR case study. We did, Sitka did a data diagnostic with them, and I think reading that document would kind of provide a little bit more insight as well, which might be valuable to you all. Like we have a few more minutes remaining. So I'm not seeing any questions at this time, but Brian, do you want to maybe give a little heads up on about these resources that you're providing?
Yeah. So step-by-step getting started guide is available. Let me know if you'd like to see that. The open standards that I mentioned earlier, you can go out to cmpopenstandards.org. I think it's good to have some frameworks here to lean on. Structured decision-making is included in that. There's an article, card sorting to discover the user model of the information space. That's what we leveraged to build our user task analysis techniques I shared earlier. And then conceptual data modeling explained. There's a quick YouTube video out there if you're curious about another perspective on how that works.